I might be called weird for this. I don't work off anger. I work better off like sadness, so to speak. Like
Okay.
I like to listen to songs that actually make me think about things that make me very emotional and upset and not angry. And that's preferably how I perform the best.
I'm not keeping up with music as much nowadays, but I still have to ask. You said you want to think about those sad memories and stuff, the things that really get you
I
feeling.
go my
What?
go to for the most part is Evanescence.
I mean, okay, yeah,
Okay.
there we go.
I was thinking Journey, Open Arms, but whatever. I mean,
That's a good
you
one.
know,
That's a good one.
yeah, whatever works for you. You know, I'm a karma chameleon guy, but you know,
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Blood, Sweat, and Gear with coaches Skip, Hill, Andrew, Barry, and myself, Scott McNally, and we are joined today by special guest Nick Walker. What's going on, Nick?
What's up?
Thanks for joining us, man. Guys, all of our programming is brought to you by TrueNutrition.com. Use our code THINK for additional savings. High-quality third-party tested supplements from a company that you can trust. Nick, we're happy to have you back, man. It's great to have you back on the show.
I'm happy to be on. I love this one, so this is a good one.
What in the heck's been going on, man? Where you living these days?
Well, I live in Vegas, but I'm doing my prep for New York at my mom's house where I used to live. So I'm just back here in Jersey for now.
Nice.
That's awesome because we've been seeing the update pictures from the iconic basement.
It
brings it back.
basement.
Yeah, it brings it back to like the USA and the North American days when we saw you prepping back then. There have been some upgrades, though. I did notice the couch is gone, and there seems to be some merchandise and memorabilia.
Inventory. I saw that too.
There's now
Tell us about that.
The mutant merchandise now.
How's that stuff selling? Is it pretty good?
Yeah, it does well. Yeah, 100%.
That's awesome. I always like going to the shows and seeing your parents there. I feel like they are your biggest fans. Like they got the T-shirts on. They're up there screaming at you when you're on stage,
they love
yelling.
This shit.
It's awesome to watch them. So
Are you doing the merch yourself? Or are you getting help from the family? Because I could tell you one thing: shipping shirts and stuff. It sounds real easy, but it can be a real pain in the butt.
My mom does it all.
Oh, bless her.
That's awesome.
Bless her. That is cool. Yeah.
Nick, why did you?
Shipping? Huh?
If you have all the support from your parents and your mom's house, I mean, I hate to ask the most obvious question, but why didn't you just stay in that basement and not move out? Because my ass would have fucking stayed at home.
Save money.
Well, because I feel like I gotta grow up eventually.
It's overrated.
I don't want to be that 40-year-old bodybuilder living in my mom's basement.
Right.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Remember that? What's that kid who did the YouTube videos years ago where he comes home, he's like this Irish guy, and he's like, Mom, you got my protein, Mom.
Hey, Mom! Don't you get me some protein?
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I remember that guy.
You guys should do some skits with that. You and your mom should.
We do. We actually. I have a lot of funny skits that I want to do with my mom and dad. So there will be some coming.
People would love that.
One of these days we have to get her on. Actually, we need to get them both on. But your mom seems to be more of the character than your dad.
She is, but make no mistake, she's shy on camera.
Gotcha.
She wasn't shy at the Arnold Classic, man. We brought her in. She grabbed that microphone and she was like, "You all better be betting on Nick Walker this weekend."
Oh, I guess she's not as shy as she ages now. So
Yeah.
Well, her son's doing a little better on stage these days than maybe 10 years ago or whatever. So she's got that confidence. She hedged her bets. But yeah, let's get right into it, man. Let's start with the Olympia and your injury. I don't actually know what the injury was. I know it was a hamstring injury. Was it a torn hamstring? Was it a adductor?
Yeah, it was a torn hamstring.
Yep.
And tell us, as far as how it happened, I wish I had a cool story. I don't. I just kind of stood up and felt a little twinge, and then it just kind of progressively got worse from there, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
And then
how soon did you see the bruising?
Probably get the day later, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed when I sent Matt check-in photos, I think like the next morning, I could see a little bit of like discoloration forming. It didn't like swell yet. There was just some bruising. And I've already torn my other hamstring. So I was kind of at the point where I was like, fuck. Like, I know where this is going.
Yeah.
And then as the day went on, it started to swell. And I'm like, oh, here we go. And with the time frame that it happened, it just wasn't. It wasn't going to work. Well, people also don't know, and I don't know if you guys know, but I also that Thursday before I left to go to Orlando, I tore my calf too.
No, I didn't
Oh.
know
So
that.
I tore my calf on the other leg, so I really couldn't walk at all.
Oh God.
So,
Gotcha.
but the problem with that calf is that was on my good leg, the one like I kicked back for the to flex my glute, and I
Yeah.
couldn't do it. So everyone's making a fuss over the hamstring because it looks horrible, but I'm
Mhm.
like, I can't flex. Like if it was just my hamstring, I would have limped my ass out on stage because I looked insane. I'm not with the hamstring. I probably wouldn't have won, obviously, but I was more than confident enough that I would have secured my third place spot again. Like that was how confident I truly was. But knowing how bad this calf was, and I couldn't stand on it, flex it, like nothing. I'm like, I'm not. This is it.
Mhm.
So obviously we went there, and Matt, scheduled me with one of his guys that was coming down that does a bunch of body work and stuff. And I just think it was we did the best we could. I just thought it was probably too soon to really have any work done on it. How fresh it really was. And I'm not gonna say it made it worse, but just it didn't make it better by any means.
Yeah.
Kind of
So
added inflammation to inflammation.
Yeah.
yes, pretty much. So I think it was like that Tuesday or Wednesday. I just woke up and I just texted him. I said, "Bro, it's not gonna happen, man. Like I can't walk. Like trying to go to the bathroom was like a task in itself. Like I'm not, you know what I mean?
We could see your
So
pain in the video, man. Like we could. I
because
think all of us could
it's
feel that.
I was very very. I say it every year, and it is what it is. But I was very very sure, like
Mm.
I was gonna win this one. Like that's I was dead on set. Like no one is gonna beat me,
Mhm.
and because I was nails front back peeled dry. I was all it could be. Even the photos that Matt posted, um, which was that Thursday, which was the day I actually tore my hamstring or my calf that day, and that was the day before we were getting ready to leave. He posted those, and everyone went crazy. And then we
Mhm.
try to still work out while being in Florida, and there was a couple other pictures he posted, and people went crazy. But I never showed my legs, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was just very, very confident like that. This one was going to be the year. So it just not only did I miss, an Olympia, which is the only show I really ever prepped for, but I missed what I really thought was going to be the year for me.
I can
So
only imagine how that mentally affects you now. You know what I mean? Like knowing because you're young. The good news is you're young. You've got
yeah,
years
I
left
mean,
ahead of
like the
you.
hamstring. I don't want to say it's like 100% healed,
Okay.
but like it's. I'll say it's good enough.
I don't even
Like
mean
as
that
far
though. What I mean though is like getting the opportunity to do it again. It's like we never know when our last prep is going to be here. Any of us. You obviously you probably have a lot of preps ahead of you, a lot of years ahead of you. But the gratitude to be able to do it, like being able to keep doing this now. I bet you that this year, my thought is, and I think a lot of people have been saying it, you're going to leave no stone unturned. You're going to be coming back with a
nah,
vengeance. You know.
I'm working. It's hard to keep saying it over and over again because I have, but it's like I'm working specifically harder than I ever have. I'm not, and I'm also just I'm in like I don't give a fuck mode now. Like I'm usually the guy that keeps quiet and just shuts everyone up on stage. I'm talking all shit. I don't care, and I'm gonna shut everyone up, and I'm still gonna shut everybody up. I just don't care now. Like I will never like bash or belittle anyone.
Of
That's not my
course.
style. But I make it known like me and Tonio, we're going back and forth. You know what I'm saying? Like I just don't care.
I
I
think
do love your
Scott, to your
comments,
point.
Antonio. Go ahead.
Oh, I just to your
I
point,
love
Scott, about
Tonio, but
being.
he's a bad shit talker. He's got to work on that.
He's got to up his game on that.
Yeah, exactly. That's just.
His comebacks aren't the greatest.
I said
Like
to your point,
I'm,
Scott, about being older. I think. Look, here's the thing, though, and this isn't. I'm trying not to sound like the old guy when I say this, but there's no way around it. Matt and guys who are starting out and they're ready to have those years and years of bodybuilding. I don't want to say dominance because I don't want to take away from anybody else, but at the same time, those years of at the peak of his career, he's not even to his peak yet. I think that's hard to comprehend at that point. I mean, I take myself back to my mediocre bodybuilding career, and there was no thought during an injury of, oh yeah, it might be done or that. You're absolutely right, Scott. But at the same time, he's just looking at it like, just get my ass on stage. I just want to wreck some shit.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do it 20 times over because I've got forever to do it.
Yeah.
Hold on. So I had to go back and find the funniest one that made me like literally spit my gum out. It was on March 1st. Tonio posted, he posted a pose where he's hitting like a front shot. And Nick goes, looks the same. That's got to be the best dig you can ever give a bodybuilder, right? Is no improvements? Like, really?
Now, going back to the hamstring, can I touch on the hamstring a little bit? Because I'm wondering what you came away with. Here's the thing. You're saying that you're, like all bets are off. You're just like, you're going to kill it and everything else. But what does it do to your, I don't want to say psyche, but does it change your approach and going, okay, did I not read a signal right? Do I need to be, I guess what I'm asking is, it typically will make, either consciously or subconsciously, make us train a little bit smarter, which is not to say you're not training smart, but maybe you overlooked some things and you're like, oh, it'll be good. And then it wasn't good. I mean, what was the takeaway? Because a lot of times during an injury, I do, because I'm older and I've had a lot of them. There's always it's not a great silver lining, but it's a silver lining in the sense that I learned something about my body that I didn't learn before. Exactly. Is there anything there? Or
that's it's funny because to my memory, there was no sign.
Oh,
like I remember, every training session was fine, and I just remember that one day I stood up and I just felt like a twinge. We all get a little twinge, and we're like, whatever, know.
Yeah.
But so that's what I thought. And I didn't even train legs yet. My leg day wasn't even until like Friday or something, and this was like a Tuesday. So to my knowledge, there was no warning signs. And as far as my mindset in training now, it's the same, because I just think it was a freak accident. There's nothing. I don't think, in my opinion, nobody trains as strict and as careful as I truly do.
I agree.
I say the only thing I might do different now, so to speak, especially for hamstrings and specifically, I don't go as heavy per se, and I already go slow enough. But now I focus just really squeezing hard at the top and holding it there, and then going down. I never truly squeezed hard on any. I just focus on the eccentric, hold the pause, explode up, come back down. But now with hamstring, holding that at the top for a second or two, it even forces you to go a little lighter. So that's just basically what I've been doing. And honestly, I think it's honestly been benefiting. So I feel like my hamstrings even got bigger from it. And I do a lot of single leg stuff now for hamstrings, just to make sure I can connect and, get back to what it was. And the connections, it's fine. I mean, I've had workouts to where some are better than others. But the past few workouts, the connection and the pump in there has been really good. So,
okay. I got two things.
I have not really touched any type of RDL, stiff leg type of movement. I mean, I've done a bent over barbell row and shit, but as far as direct stiff-legged hamstring work for them, I haven't really gone that far. I just do all seated and lying right now.
Okay.
And I'm also feel like I'm at that point in my career where that movement might not even be needed for me anymore. Do I miss it? Yeah, because that's how I felt like I built shit, hard, heavy, intense, old school barbell shit. But I also know sometimes, at where I'm at in my career, I feel like sometimes risk isn't worth the reward at this point, and it's better to be a little more on the safer side. So,
I got a good question for you then. So we have a lot of guys that are looking up to you. They watch your training and they emulate what you're doing. What would you suggest the young guys do differently? Obviously, this could be an example right there. But what would you suggest the young guys do that are trying to attain a lot of size? What do they do differently than you're doing now?
Actually train.
Wait, what?
Stop looking in the mirror so much. No. Honestly, like I've gone back to my old roots now, meaning I don't really train a lot of volume. I do a Dorian Yates. Like I train 4 days a week right now, and I think it's been the best I've looked, I felt,
Yeah.
and all the above. So I just think the main thing is what people need to understand is, and I'm sure we can all agree, you don't need certain exercises to build a muscle. Like you don't need a bench to get a chest, in my opinion. You don't need a deadlift to grow back. You don't need freeway squats to grow. You need to find the exercises that you connect with the best. Make sure you connect with them to the fullest extent. Take the intensity as far as you can take it, and move on to the next exercise. And I just think that's how you grow the most. You know, you're in, you're out, you train hard. Because if you're implying the utmost intensity possible, you have no room for volume. Like there's no room.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And this is nothing against people that train with volume. I've done it, and I do think it has its benefits. I think there's a time and a place for it, just like everything. But my base training is very, very intense. And I'm not, when I say hard and intense, it doesn't have to be like a Dorian Yates type of set where you're doing like 6 to 8 reps. That's not feasible for everybody. I don't even do that shit. Like if I can take a leg press set of the hardest 20 reps of my fucking life, there's no room for another set. You're done. Move on.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and I think people get wrapped up, you know, in trying to do more, but not even do more. They try to go too heavy. And next thing you know, they're like, why aren't my legs growing? Well, you're working your knees more than your fucking muscle. You know what I mean? Like it's just lower the weight, do full range of motion, and take that bitch all the way to failure. And that's just how you grow. And now that like I never was a full range, I guess neither, until I started doing more of like the RP style training, which I like to. And I have no joint pain ever. Like
Yeah.
I honestly feel the best, and I think that's where a lot of people lack is they try to go too heavy and it's a short range, and that's why their elbows hurt. That's why their knees hurt. That's why this hurts. I have learned, like people. I posted a video. I think what Friday I was leg pressing, and I had 4 plates, and there was a couple of people talking some shit.
Yeah.
Granted, that was an Arsenal leg press. They're heavy regardless, but that was, if you watch how I execute, how deep I fucking go, I pause in the hole. I sort like that 4 plates aside. That's some heavy fucking shit if you
Yeah.
do it right. You know, and by the time I was done that set, my legs were so pumped. I'm like, I'm good here. You know, I move on.
You know, I think in the defense of, and I don't want to defend the trolls, don't get me wrong, but in defense of the people who don't get it, I think that it's difficult for a lot of people until you spend a lot of time in the gym and really kind of, I don't want to say master intensity, but actually learn it, because it's such a, I've said this time and time again, it's not as much physical as it is mental. And I think a lot of people really can't go there. They can't get
you
that.
You gotta go to a dark place to really.
That's what I'm saying. There has to be, it's almost like there has to be some type of childhood trauma that takes you, really, I mean, honestly, you have to find something that either angers you. I call it controlled chaos, because anger doesn't work well for me. I'll do stupid shit.
Well, it's actually funny you say that. I don't work, so I might be called weird for this. I don't work off anger. I work better off like sadness, so to speak. Like I like to listen to songs that actually make me think about things that make me very emotional and upset and not angry. And that's preferably how I perform the best.
No kidding.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's not silly at all. Those are those things, and everybody has those things. It's whether we talk about them or anybody asks us about them, really, because everybody has, I think, those motivators. Let me, if you guys don't mind, I keep asking questions, but I do have one more that I think is important. When was it that because I'm sure it was like told to you or kind of you were advised or given advice on, but when did it click with you that you thought, okay, I'm going to really I'm going to really focus on these mechanics. I'm going to slow these motions down. I'm going to pull the weight back considerably, and I'm going to dig into the intensity, because just like you said, in getting, the trolls come out with the 4 plates and things like that, there had to be I think, some transition at some point where you thought, okay, I'm going to give this a try. So I'm wondering why. And then obviously you saw that it was incredibly effective. And I always laugh about the trolling because nobody who trolled you could ever touch you on leg size, but yet they're going to try to get you for 4 plates on each side. It's just laughable.
Well, then,
sometimes.
but it's funny because then there'll be some people in the comments. They'll be like, "Well, I guess this means you don't need 10 plates on a leg press to get big legs." You know what I mean? Like there's some
Okay.
people that know. But there was so it's not one specific throughout my career. I think it was a couple. I think it was specifically when me and Matt started to work together. He really much revamped my entire training to pretty much exactly what I do now, so to speak.
Yep.
Very, very intense. Slow down the eccentrics, explode up. But I guess as time went on, because we started back in 2018ish, from then as time went on, I was always known for the controlling of the movements and going really, really, really heavy. But I still had a lot of lagging parts. And I think that's because even though it looks super, super controlled, I'm still not connecting with the proper muscle because it's still the weight I'm using is still too heavy for me, even though it looks like it's right. So it wasn't until probably last year, really, until I started working with my friend Jared with some training tips, who's part of the RP method, and he's like, we need to lower that weight more, and you're gonna go full range, and pause for a second, and then explode up.
Nice.
And then it started to make more sense because now I felt like, for example, like a flat, we'll just say flat dumbbell. Once I started to do that, I felt nothing but the pec now. I felt barely any tricep involvement, any front delt involved. It was just
Yep.
all directly. And I'm like, it just sounds stupid from me being so experienced in the game, but I'm like, oh shit. Like, was this what I've been missing this whole time? And it's like now doing that type of fashion with like a Dorian Yates intensity, my body again has just takes off, and I just think for New York, for Olympia, it's gonna be inevitable.
I remember you saying that all the way back to, I think it was like 2019. Was that the year you turned pro, 19?
No, I should have, but no, 2020 I did.
2020. We did the road to the North Americans.
Yes.
And I remember you saying that, working with Matt, you were reducing your volume. And at the time you said, it was funny because I remember people trolling you in the comments. You said, I'm getting less issues with my joints, doing less volume, but pushing harder. And people were like, that doesn't make any sense at all. He's lifting heavier weights, blah, blah, blah.
But
blah,
it's how you lift it,
Yeah.
and Matt was a very big advocate, and I'm glad he taught me all that because that really again revamped my entire look into training, because the thing is, if volume was the answer, why aren't we doing like 10 sets on each exercise, 20
And then
sets on
12.
exercise?
Yeah. And then
It's
30. Right.
why going up in volume, if that's, what I mean, intensity's the answer. So if you can get all you need out of one set, shouldn't that be enough? You know what I mean? And I learned that like with legs, like for example, Friday, I did one set. I'm big on rest pauses too. I think rest pauses are awesome. So on leg extensions, I did one set of a rest pause set. I did 20 reps. The leg press was one set into a rest pause, and then I did hack squat, which was one set into a rest pause, and that was it.
Yeah. And how
And I
long did
do
that take?
hamstrings, and I do hamstrings in the same day as well. So I did seated lying leg curl, same thing, one set rest pause. Seated leg curl, same thing, one set rest pause, and then I just ended with 2 sets of Bulgarian split squats. Not so failure, just kind of put some blood in there, pump it up, isolate a little more.
How long did that whole workout take you, out of curiosity?
Legs, I was hour 15.
Okay, so because I just want to point that out, you still have those warm ups. You're not just jumping right into.
And I become a big advocate of like longer rest periods. Like
okay.
Before I jump into like a really really hard set, I will take a good like 3 to 4 minutes to be honest, and really.
And you're gonna crank that song on. I'm not keeping up with music as much nowadays, but I still have to ask. You said you want to think about those sad memories and stuff, the things that really get you
I
feeling.
go my go-to for the most part is Evanescence.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
There we go.
I was thinking Journey, Open Arms, but whatever. I mean,
That's a good one. That's a good one.
yeah, whatever works for you. I'm a Karma Chameleon guy, but
If we've provided value to you today, then please consider contributing to our show. You can help support the show through Patreon. Every $5 helps to pay for the software and the hardware and everything else that goes into making a podcast. You can also contribute by using our code at True Nutrition. True Nutrition has been our title sponsor for several years now. I'm super grateful for them, and I've believed in True Nutrition supplements long before they sponsored our programming. You could use our code THINK for health supplements and performance supplements. Feel free to hit me up if you have any questions. And if you're in Canada, check out supplementsource.ca. They have free shipping over $99, huge discounts on overstocked, short-dated, and label-changed products. Plus, they have all your normal supplements too.
So you basically have two camps. This is just to take a little cheap shot at the listeners. You have two camps. You have the one camp that says, "Oh, Nick's only huge because he can get away with that because he's genetically gifted and he picked his mom and dad correctly." Which in part, that's cool.
There's a little bit of that.
Yeah, I mean, I love my parents.
There is no question. There's no question. I'm genetically gifted. There's
yeah,
no
and you've
question
never denied that. Yeah,
Sure.
No,
but that takes.
There's things you can always do, genetically gifted or not, to improve even more.
Exactly.
And if I can do it, genetically gifted or not, so can anybody else. And I believe that.
Me too.
Then that takes me
100%.
to the number two camp, which is exactly what you're saying. The number two camp are the deniers, where they've got the information in front of them because they've got you doing it, and they're like, oh, so I should focus. I should make sure that I train within my recovery. I should be careful of my joints so that I'm actually hitting the target muscle instead of burying my front delts while I'm trying to do dumbbell presses that are literally too heavy for me because my ego, I can't check my ego at the gym. And just focus on those people, that camp, getting bigger by maximizing their recovery and slowing things down and hitting the target muscle versus going in there and, of course, being able to post a video of doing 4 or 5 reps that are questionable with an incline dumbbell press so that they can put up the biggest numbers that they put up in a while. So you have those two camps. One of them works. The other one has repeatedly shown time and time again forever that the results are mediocre at best. So figure out what camp you're in.
I'm in the no ego camp now.
Exactly. No question. And the other thing I'm sure there are some people saying, well, he still trains really heavy because you do have that strong base. People don't make it to that level without being strong anyway.
People understand my strength versus somebody else's strength to me, it's irrelevant. It doesn't matter. Like you're
Right.
strong in your way, I'm strong in my way. Just because I lift a certain way doesn't it is. Could I lift heavier? Absolutely. Do
Right.
I need to? No. But is it still heavy for what I'm doing? Yes. Like for example, there was this kid at the gym, at the new gym I go to. There was this pec fly machine. It was a really cool machine. He was using it. He had like 45s on each side and this is a heavy fly machine. And he had 45s on each side. And I said, how many more sets you got? He goes, I got like 2 or 3 more. I said, can I jump in? And he's like, yeah, sure.
It's Nick
So
Walker. Of course he can jump in.
Yeah, right. He's like, do you need more weight here? I said, no, I'm good. And I did my set, 10 reps. He goes and does his set. And watching him do it, everything moved but his chest.
Oh.
And I'm not the guy to say anything because I don't want to offend anyone.
Yeah.
And then until one point he said, are you sure you don't want more weight? I said, okay, here we go. I said, are you sure you don't want to lower the weight? And he said, well, what do you mean? I said, everything moved on your body but your chest. I said, watch me. So I did my set and I got up. I said, you saw how everything here moved, nothing else? And he was like, well, yeah. I said, well, when you did it, your chest moved 0, nothing. You didn't contract a bit. I said, so why about we lower the weight now? So he lowered the weight, he put 25s on each side. That was still too heavy. I had this motherfucker go to 10s on each side and do it properly. And I said, "How's your chest feel?" He's like, I got a pump." I said, "Okay, do you understand what I'm saying? Weight is irrelevant." I said, "Drop your ego. You come in here to work out to make improvements. What you were doing does nothing for you at all." And then and I watched him briefly for the rest of his workout. He took the advice. So I thought that was kind of cool.
He was probably wrecked the next day too.
Right.
Whatever. He was the guy trolling you about the plates. I mean, come on.
Probably.
2 days later,
Yeah, I do 6
he was on
plates
the phone with
this.
his bros going, I don't know. This fucker thinks he knows everything, and he told me to lower the weight. Fuck this guy. I want to get huge. He doesn't want me to get big like you.
Yeah, he's trying to keep the secrets. That's what it is.
Fuck this guy. I ain't lifting lights. Fuck his
Yeah. And I got something for you. Complete, kind of related, kind of not related. I saw one of your posts. It was your shot, recent mirror shot, right? You're holding your phone up, and somebody obviously doesn't follow you. He says, "Is this guy natty?"
Yeah, I get that a lot.
Now, you said earlier in the show too. You're like, "Listen, I don't care anymore. I'm just going to say whatever I want to say." So you're at this point where you're like self-actualized. I don't think that anybody could say anything
If anyone
that's going to hurt you, right?
looks at me and says I'm natty, lacks some serious intelligence there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but with the trolls, like I don't think there's anybody who can say anything that's going to hurt you at this stage of the game. There's a lot of guys out there. They're at the
I don't know
opposite.
how long you guys have been following my entire career, but there is nothing at this point that I haven't heard that's just gonna bother me, honestly.
Yeah.
Is that what it is? Is time? Because there's a lot of guys at the other end where like, man, I'd love to post more.
Look, I'll
You
be
know?
honest, like when my name started to get first known,
Yeah.
and I was getting a lot of heat, I didn't understand why, and it got to me. I didn't understand it,
Yeah.
but now I just realized it's part of the game. It's part of the sport. Like you're never gonna be perfect for anybody, and you have to accept that. Like you could be Mr. Olympia for fucking 10 years in a row. Guess what? People are still gonna talk shit.
Yeah.
It is what it is. You just have to just take it and roll with it. Sometimes I respond when I'm taking a shit and just for shits and have fun with it. You know,
Yeah.
like I don't like. What are you supposed to say? You know, I usually ignore them, but there's some where I'm like, this is a good one. Let me come back at it.
It's more of a comedic thing for you, right? It's not like,
Yes,
this guy's burning me. I
I've
need
learned.
to fight back.
Yeah, I've learned the older I've gotten, like these majority of the people that are talking all this shit, they don't know me. They never met me. They don't serve any relevance in my life. They don't know what goes on day to day. And 10 times out of 10, they're going to see you in person and not going to say shit except, can I get a picture? You know what I mean? I don't. It is what it is.
Do you think that
I would go so far as to say it's society? It's not even really the sport because you see it on social media.
I feel like some of them do it to like get a reaction because there was a time years ago I responded to somebody and he messaged me back. He was like, "Bro, I didn't think you were gonna respond."
Oh God.
Yeah.
You
I'm
think
like, yeah, you're talking shit, bro.
Exactly.
That Samson just made that post recently, and he was like, "I can't believe the negativity I'm getting." Do you think that's just because he's maybe newer at the sport and he's not used to getting that stuff?
Samson kind of had what I believe I had, which I don't want to say is a quick success, but it was like a quick rise.
Absolutely,
right?
Yeah.
Like, so he doesn't. And he also never doesn't come from this bodybuilding industry. He kind of got into it. So I don't think he understands why he's getting shit, why he's getting negativity. But just like me, you're gonna have to learn like this. It just comes with the sport, man. Like it is what it is. You got to take it for what it is, and just honestly, I embrace it because if they didn't talk shit about me, then I have no relevancy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I enjoy it. Say whatever the fuck you want, man. Any publicity is good publicity, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Well, going into this year's Olympia and after last year's Olympia, what's been the focus for your physique? I mean, because you loved your physique last year, you thought you were right there. You in your mind, you're like, I'm winning this thing. There's no one coming close to me. After you got the swelling come down the hamstring, you showed Matt some pictures, you got back into the off season. What was the goal this off season for what did you want to bring up?
It was just continuing to do what we did last year. Not push food too hard, just enough to feel good, make improvements, not overdo it. and just continue to keep training the same, because I felt like the improvements that were making from the Arnold at the time to what I was going to show at the Olympia was pretty drastic. In my opinion, I was going to weigh relatively about the same though from what I weighed at the Olympia versus this Olympia. I was going to be around 255 ish, just a lot harder, leaner, and I think bigger. So technically, there wasn't much change that we wanted to do, just continuing to do what we did, and that's what we did. Like right now, I'm like 280, 281 ish, and I'm a lot leaner now than I've ever been at 280, 280 ish. And I just think that applies. The only thing I've done different, I guess, is the amount of days that I train. Like I train 4 days a week. Um, I guess so to speak. When I was in prep for the Arnold or the Olympia, I was doing kind of like a push pull leg type of deal.
Right.
But I also felt like that might have been too much for my body. And with doing that style in particular, it was like I did 5 days a week, but training everything twice a week, somewhat to a degree, I felt was taxing. And with that style, especially RP, they like to do like reps in reserve, which I think serve a great benefit. I do. The only way you can do reps in reserve, in my opinion, is if you know how to take a set to the ultimate failure.
Thank you.
I think that's non-negotiable.
Yeah.
That being said, I don't know how to do reps in reserve because I only know how to go to failure. Like I don't know. Like I don't know if I stop. I don't know if I have one more, two more, three more. Like I'd rather just go until mechanical failure is done for me.
Yeah.
So I think all of that, it taxed me a little harder than normal. So again, I just applied both methods, and I went over this with Matt. I said, look, bro, I'm going to train the RP type of style to where everything is full range, pause in the hole, bang, bang, bang. I'm going to train 4 days a week during the 8 split, his intensity, and let's see how it goes. And he was on board. That's specifically how Matt loves to train. So, and that's what I love about Matt too. Like we now, like that we always did, but I think our relationship has definitely gotten better over the past year. But we communicate better than ever. Like, and he's one of those coaches for me specifically that like, he listens to what I say and we apply it. And if he doesn't agree, he tells me and he says, well, let's try this way for whatever, this way for a little longer. We'll see how this goes. But he always takes my feedback into consideration because he knows if I say something, it's because like I mean it. It's not like, some clients, kind of second guess you or they want to question you. You know what I'm saying? Like he knows if I have something to say, it's for a specific reason. We apply it, we see what happens, and we go for it. And so I remember when I finally decided to do New York, I said, look, I think we should still train 4 days a week. Like, what do you think? It's working. And he's like, yeah, let's run it out for as long as we can. And at this point, like, my body feels the best it's ever felt. I'm eating more food than I think I've ever had at this point into a prep. Digestion's where it needs to be. Body feels great where it needs to be. And I'm just hoping, again, we just walk into this New York show together and just dominate it,
You see that message, Scott?
You got him. Andrew had texted Skip a little bit ago, and he said, Skip, think of 5 questions for Nick. And Skip says he's got him. So we got this thing Skip likes to do where he asks 5 fun questions. And Nick, you're a perfect victim for this segment.
Now I feel bad because Andrew sent them instead of Scott. I had my glasses on and I didn't see that. Sorry, Andrew. Anyway, okay. You ready? Growing up, pre-bodybuilding, were you choir, violin, band, or were you baseball, football, soccer? They play soccer now in school. I'm too old because we didn't have soccer in school. Were you sports, or were your extracurriculars, were your other hobbies like not sport related?
I know the answer to this.
I actually didn't play sports in high school.
No kidding.
That worked out.
Okay.
I played them a lot when I was younger before high school, and I played baseball, football, and soccer.
What position baseball?
First base and pitcher.
Okay. No shit. Pitcher. Okay.
You missed
one
your
Yeah, that was
calling though.
before. That was before I got huge, man. I could actually throw a baseball.
You
It's the
missed your
best.
calling though. You guys
Best.
remember Mike Allscott, Tampa Bay running back?
Yeah,
Yep,
yeah.
That would have been Nick.
that would have. Yeah,
Just a tank running over people.
I actually
All right.
was. I played for football. I did play middle linebacker and fullback.
Think of that. Looking over, just being the back, just going, oh man, I got to run that 3 side. You got to be kidding me. I'm going.
I love the blitz. Blitzing was my favorite.
All right, one thing no one knows about you that's non-bodybuilding related, whether it be like a hobby or something that's not related to lifting heavy things and setting them down.
I like to write poems.
You're kidding,
No kidding.
really?
Hey, that's cool. Okay, all right. Dang, man, now I'm going to have to, like, next time you're on, we're going to have haikus by haiku by Nick. What's the daily haiku? Okay. Number 3, cats or dogs? Don't say the wrong
Dog,
answer.
bro.
Oh,
Thank
you're
you.
killing me. Okay, fair enough.
Cats?
I'm a cat guy, man. I have
Gross.
exotic cats. Gross.
Gross.
Skip
They
has
didn't
those
think-
cats that
Yeah,
you
they
wonder
didn't
if you
hear
need a
you. I have my
license
headphones
for.
on.
Skip has those cats you wonder if you need a license for. He's got the
Yeah. Dogs all day, bro.
yes.
Well, you don't have kids, so dogs are more like kids. Once you have kids and they leave, you're like, I want low maintenance. I don't want to have to take them out. Anyway, so if you, because we raised 4 kids, that was enough work right there.
Plus, you live so high up.
That
You live
too,
so high
sure,
up. Taking a dog out would be
Oh,
a pain. Where you
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be a
Oh, that's
project.
true too. Yeah.
You walk down any urban area where there's high rises and you just smell dog urine all over the sidewalks, especially when it rains. It's horrible.
Yeah.
But anyway, okay, real job, not professional bodybuilder getting paid to play video games. But if you had to have a real job, like you just had shitty genetics like me, what would your real job be? What would you have? Would you been like an accountant, cop?
I always wanted to be a cop.
No kidding. Okay, so we
I
have
can see
that in
that.
common too. Yeah, and then I broke the law a couple times. They said I couldn't do it. Whatever. Rules suck. Rules are stupid sometimes. Anyway, dream car. Money doesn't matter. It does not. Like you just have an endless supply. You're a sheik in Kuwait or something.
A Ferrari.
Nice. Specifically anything or just any Ferrari?
Any Ferrari. As long as it's red.
Nice. Last one, no calories. This is your breakfast. It doesn't
No
matter.
calories?
It doesn't count. What do you eat for breakfast?
I'm gonna have probably double stacked pancakes, 3 blueberry muffins, 4 servings of sourdough toast with jelly, a lot of jelly, strawberry jelly. Let's see, a meat lover's omelet with extra cheese, extra bacon in there, and a side of home fries.
So we can't really say he's like a carb freak because he had that really heavy omelet in there. So he's sweet and savory.
You notice he didn't have to think about it either. He just boom.
He was thinking more about the quantity than what it actually was. Yeah.
He knew.
Fair enough. That's
Breakfast
those
is
were
my
on the
favorite.
fly.
I could eat a shit ton of breakfast, bro. That's my favorite.
Me too.
Yeah, you said pancakes, not a French toast guy.
No, I'm a pancake guy.
Okay, how
It's
about
a good thing you got a girlfriend and you're straight because it just wouldn't work, Nick. No cats, no French toast. Goddamn.
Now I got a thing with Ron and Dusty. They're both into waffles. Waffles or pancakes?
I think I'd still. I might go waffles.
Oh man, so I'm the only pancake guy. Yeah,
I might go waffles.
They like the waffles because they hold the syrup. They got the little,
They
the
do
divots.
that. I can agree with. A pancake soaks it up, kind of goes dry. I see it.
I'm still a team pancake all the way.
Yeah,
Well, the
waffles
thing
and
is, what I do
crunchy.
with pancakes is I just kind of pour it on, take a bite, pour more on, take a bite.
There you go.
There you go.
You flavor
Yeah.
your syrup.
The only problem
pancake.
with that is next thing you know, the whole bottle's gone. Then you just devoured God knows how much sugar in
Like
there.
5,000 grams of carbohydrates. Pure sugar.
How much insulin you taking with that?
That's where I was
The
going.
whole bottle. The
Insulin
whole
will take
bottle.
care of that,
Full pen.
Yeah.
For real.
I had a random one here from our listeners. Are you a fan of Italian, like Parmesan, Because they ask, is that something people would know?
Oh yeah,
Because they ask you, they say chicken,
I
veal, or eggplant.
veal's actually really good, but I would still pick chicken parm.
Okay.
Does anybody really like eggplant parm? Like you're getting vegetable
No,
in your parmesan? Like, come on! Like
No.
that's and you,
That's like
here's the
the
thing:
vegan
when you go
version.
to Italian restaurants and you see the prices, and it's like chicken parm $26.99, eggplant parm like $26.99. Like, why would I pay the same thing for a slice of friggin' eggplant? That always
Yeah.
boggled my mind when I see that.
Yeah.
I think it's gross.
Did you guys see Nick on stage at the Arnold Classic? He's looking bigger than ever. You had this
Juicy.
this gray shirt on and his short sleeve, all freaking Nick's walking out there like he's the biggest guy on stage. It made me think I thought to myself, I was like, did he take the time to think about what shirt will make me look biggest when I walk out there
Nah,
in front
dude,
of everybody?
I just packed that shit before
Did
we
you?
drove down to the Arnold. Yeah,
No.
I was
Must
feeling
be
bad
nice
for,
to be
Bill.
vegan. We all do that, I think.
I was feeling bad for Guy Sister Nino to have to be on stage with a man.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit, because I'm like, I say to Nate, because me and Nate are sitting here watching it together, and I'm like, man, that little guy next to Nick looks like he could have been like Guy Sister Nino. Then we're like,
Oh my
oh
god.
shit, that is Guy Sister Nino.
Oh god.
Oh yeah, guy's got a long neck now.
What was your highlight at the Arnold?
Like the whole thing, the show, or
Yeah, like the whole weekend.
honestly, like I love to do the Arnold, so being there, obviously always puts you in a certain mood. But it was nice to actually kind of be a spectator for a little
Yeah.
bit, but it was really cool to actually do the meet and greets and kind of just be more involved, more engaged, and actually listen to people, hear people's stories. And I actually thoroughly enjoyed it because normally, like I'm doing these shows, so you're kind of just like,
Yeah.
But being actually happy, smiley, being able to really talk to people, I actually thoroughly enjoyed it. I loved it.
Did you guys go eat any good food anywhere there?
Nah, man, I'm on prep. I don't do
Yeah, I was
that.
gonna say
okay.
he's been dieting.
I didn't know if you got any kind of like
All right.
cheat meals or anything like that. Do you ever do cheat meals, or are you just like 100% on plan all the time? How's that work?
Well, we do, but right now I like to do just higher carb with what I'm
Okay,
eating.
so just keeping it clean.
Yeah, unless he feels like you need one, like your body's moving too fast, we need one, then I'll do it. But
Yeah,
I just feel better off higher clean food, to be honest.
yeah,
I think that's the mark of an experienced champion competitor. Like, you no longer let your desires of like, man, I really would enjoy a burger right now. Instead, you're mentally making a decision of like, well, what's going to benefit me the best? Like, what's
yes,
going to refill
Yeah,
glycogen? Like, I'm not
you
looking for
have to know,
mentally.
like unless Matt truly felt it was like necessary. Like I said, if we did a couple, a high carb day or something, and I end up losing weight, and he's like, you know what, like I want you to do a high day, and I think a burger is really gonna help you here or something, then yeah, sure, why not? But like if we're refeeding, body responds well, we're on a roll, just keep doing what you're doing. I don't, I never. It's funny. I don't really crave food unless
Hmm.
obviously I eat it. You know what I mean? Like once you eat it, you just want more and more and more.
yeah,
And so I honestly I'd rather not.
yeah,
Like I said, that's a mark of an experienced competitor.
yeah, yeah. Fair
I mean, because how
enough.
many times do you guys get in your check-ins where you're like, all right, let's do a high day today, add an extra 300 grams of carbs, and you get a response back like, I think it'd be hard to get 300 grams of carbs in, but I could definitely fit a burger in, or I could definitely go out and do a pizza. It's like,
That's the weak.
you know what I mean?
That's the
That's what I
weak
say.
Yeah,
I just
Fitness
ignore those
versus
Because
emails and delete
amount.
them.
and also in my opinion, the reality is, if your body is that much in a good spot, if you increase your high day by 400 grams of carbs across the day, it should be relatively easy, in my opinion. Because I know for me, like when we do a higher day of carbs, the more carbs I eat, the hungrier I just get.
yeah,
So this is, you're not in the off season. You know what I mean? Like where it's, you see a lot of food, you're like, oh shit. When I get a high day, I'm like, fuck yeah, bro. But I also know I'm just gonna get hungrier and hungrier
Mm-hmm.
and hungrier. So
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. What'd you think of Hadi? Do you think he was
that
better
was
than the Olympia?
Absolutely.
right?
Without a doubt, man. He improved. I don't know what they did different, if they did anything different for that matter, besides just continue to diet. But he it was clear as day for me. It was clear as day.
I think the biggest thing I saw was complete abdominal control in 360 degrees, like every shot. There was no distension
You didn't see
whatsoever.
that. You didn't see it slip once, man.
Yeah.
Not
Like
once. Yep.
Yeah,
any quarter turn, any movement, like it was just locked in. Boom.
Mm-hmm. And I
Yeah.
thought, not that I thought that Samson was even close to his conditioning, or I thought Hadi was clear number one and Samson was a distant number two. But even that distension that Samson had when he was transitioning, or even in the ab and thigh, just a little bit of turtle shell, I feel like Hadi exposed the hell out of that, just being so tight in the midsection, on top of his dryness, on top of his conditioning. I think they nailed it 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed. And not to knock on
agree.
Samson, I saw that in person. You could see, even though Samson had that narrow waist, you could see it compared to Hadi.
Yeah, that's what people don't understand. Like Samson doesn't have a wide waist. He's just having trouble controlling it. And I don't like to speculate and know what him and Milos do. I'm sure we can all come to a conclusion there. But I just think maybe try the opposite, whatever it is that you're doing, because I personally believe if Samson can come in peeled, like peeled,
Yeah.
that's going to be really, really hard to beat as well.
That shape.
I mean, I don't think anyone's going to question that.
Yeah. And we'll see. I mean, he's working with his wife's going to help him. I don't know what that means.
That's right. Now he works. So we'll see what happens. I don't know what their approach is. Obviously, I don't really know how they operate together.
Yeah.
But we'll and I hate to say like we'll see how he looks at the UK, because it's like they started working together like for a week and a half before the show.
Yeah.
Right.
You
Right.
know. But so he's either going to look. In my opinion, I don't think he's going to look worse. I think he's either going to look the same or, in my opinion, a touch tighter.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I was him, I would have skipped the UK and gone to Brazil, so you have a little bit of extra time for his wife or him to get together. And because I feel like he needs to just get that next level conditioning, and I just don't feel like there's enough time, especially with that video he put up about how his body felt like it was failing, and he probably had some meals after the show, had the flight back home. He was probably up 10 pounds by the time he got back into the UK.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that doesn't just come off like the next day. It usually takes 2 or 3 days.
Man, that's it. That's it.
And then, so yeah, let's say you get home Thursday is basically where you might be back to ground zero, and then you have a week and a half really to push for conditioning, if that, before you're out to start thinking about filling back out again. So I just don't know with his body type if there was enough time to make those improvements, and that's why I'm saying I would have opted to take the UK off, even though it's in his backyard, and maybe done the Brazil instead to give himself the best shot to bring a better package. Personally,
Yeah.
I don't disagree. But I think he wanted to do the UK because it was a short break, obviously in between two shows, and I honestly think my man he wants a break, man. I think he needs to take some time, honestly.
Yep.
That could be another issue for all we know. His body might be responding, not as smooth right now. I just think he needs a break, take a vacation, and relax for a little bit and take his mind off everything.
Yeah. Well, what if it was like say an insulin thing? I mean, that's something.
Don't do insulin.
Don't use insulin for this one.
that could be cleaned up real quick, right? Yeah. And if there's anybody who, like, if he were to call you, Andrew, and he was like, "Hey, Andrew, would you help me?" You don't have any idea what's going on, but his wife has watched every day, she's probably the best person to step in if someone's got to step in,
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I'm going to still go back to, I don't think it was just insulin. I think he needs to get to that next level conditioning, the kind of conditioning Nick brings, the kind of conditioning the Hadi brings, to be able to be in that conversation of clear cut number one. He's winning the show outright. I mean, on paper, he's the guy that should win this next show, right?
Yeah.
He's the odds on favorite. But
I'll tell you who looks really good though is Akim.
He's incredible, man.
Yeah.
What'd you think of his look at the Arnold?
I thought he got
So
screwed.
I wasn't there for prejudging, but when I saw him come out for finals, I said, "Oh shit!" I said, "Akim looks good, boy." I said, "Finally,
Same.
But see, that's what Akim has been missing. Like Akim can easily win shows. Like that the mask ain't going nowhere, my friend. Like you need to just be peeled. And I think now, I don't know. Now that he's working, I think with Chris Aceto now. I think whatever they're doing, it's working. You know what I mean? So I
Mhm.
think if he stays on this road here, he's gonna be dangerous.
I agree.
Mhm.
He looked fantastic. I didn't see prejudging either, but finals and the people around me were
He
clamoring
looked
for
so
him
good.
too.
They
You
put him in
know,
the
yeah,
final four for fuck's sake, man.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I felt like that was such a dick tease too when they put him in that final four and then pulled him back out when it came down to placings. I thought that's such a dick tease to do to him, and,
Well, like
and I
I
guess that,
think I don't know where he was for prejudging, but I felt like he was
like in the
low. That
six,
it
he was
didn't.
in like the
Yeah,
sixth position. But I
Yeah.
think what they do is, it's a 2-day show. They literally judged it Friday and they judged it Saturday and they averaged the scores. They didn't go with that lasting impression. Whereas,
Mm.
like maybe the 1 and 2 guys, if it was a battle on Friday, they're going to go with whoever looks better on Saturday night. But I think in the situation where with Akim at being 6th or 4th, they took the scores and they added them, averaged them up, and said, nope, he falls in that 5th or 6th position.
That's exactly
yeah.
what they did because that's what happened to James, but the opposite. He
Opposite.
was
Yep.
higher and then lower, and then they split that. So,
Yep.
I was
Exactly.
very impressed with John.
oh yeah,
I
Yeah.
was really impressed with Rafael. My opinion of Rafael is I think that was his overall best package to date. I don't think it was his most conditioned look to date, but I think overall it was his best look to date.
I agree.
I think he just looked tremendous. I think he's doing Brazil, so if he's got a lot of time to bring that conditioning even more. So I'm
oh
actually very
yeah.
excited to see how he looks there. To be honest,
I'll be
Mhm.
excited to see that too. That was the only thing I had was I felt like when they turned around, he wasn't quite as sharp as I would have liked to have seen him. But the amount of mass he's put on over the past few years is incredible.
It's so funny though because you had said that, Scott, that you weren't very happy with his conditioning, especially from the back. Whereas on the video, and this is why you got to be there in person. People that say pictures or they video, you got to be at shows in person to get an
yeah,
accurate
yeah,
assessment. Because in the video, he looked. I thought John De La Rosa had the best conditioning from the back based off the video. Like every detail was in him
He
and
looked
Hadi,
really
I should
good.
say. But I would say very close to that. It looked like Brandon was like right there. Whereas, but Scott's telling me in the text message, like,
I just
nah,
didn't
like
see it. I didn't see it.
which
I'm a fan. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to hate on
oh,
the
I'm not
guy.
saying you weren't.
know,
And this is why I always say, like, no, you go with the people that were actually there in the audience. Like the videos don't show the real detail. They can make someone look better or worse. Pictures, same thing. You got to be there in person to really get 100% accurate assessment.
yeah.
On another note, how about Vito? Have you seen the pictures of Vito?
I got to see how he looks on stage.
I feel like the pictures are showing the best conditioning we've ever seen because I've always thought his conditioning kind of sucked personally. But
Yeah,
the,
what's he
Is it-
the
doing?
latest,
Is that the
He's doing
guy I
Brazil.
sent you earlier today, Andrew?
Oh, he's doing
yeah,
Brazil too.
Yeah, yeah. He's
Yeah.
incredible looking in the pictures.
yeah, very complete now.
Yeah.
And his conditioning, at least from the pictures, looks much better than we've ever seen, at least in pictures. So
Brazil's shaping up to be pretty competitive here
I think it'll be good.
because
Mhm.
now Tonio just jumped in.
Okay.
Nice. Well, I got a question for you. What'd you think about Horse?
Biggest disappointment.
Yeah,
I agree.
and I was riding high on him. I was riding high, like,
He looks so good in his pictures. So good.
dude, like,
Yeah,
know?
but if you notice, he never showed a back shot.
Mm.
nope. I hate to use the word for a pro, but soggy.
It
I'm a soggy.
a little bit. It was.
I felt like
It was. I just like why. I know me, and if I didn't know, I know Matt. Like we would never go on stage if that was like what was happening. You know what I mean? Like he would look me dead in the face and be like, "Nah, bro. Like we got to do another show here."
Yeah,
I also felt like
why go on stage like that?
posing could have been a lot better too, in my opinion. I felt like it almost felt like he didn't know how to control the muscle super well.
you know, I think what it was though is like once you know you don't look good,
Yeah.
your body just follows
It feels
suit.
it.
And
It feels
you're-
it.
yeah,
yeah, your body, you don't hit your poses as crisp as you were. Like, all right, put an example. When Nick came out at the Arnold Classic that he won, you knew you looked so good. You came out and you just hit those shots and held them for like
Yeah.
5-6 seconds. You're like, give me the praise, give me the adulation. I know I look good. So like the dichotomy or the knowing that you're on can just like make you look and feel better and then perform better and look
That's a
even
good
better.
point.
Yeah, man. And I think that's what happened to Horst.
Posing with confidence is what makes the tremendous difference, in my opinion.
It's like,
You know, even
yeah.
even for him, like it's you know, it's hard to do it, but it's easier to say it. But like, even if
Yeah.
you know you look like shit, just pose like you're the shit anyway. You know, like, fuck it.
Yeah.
Arnold
Because even though
Schwarzenegger.
you look
Arnold
like
did
shit,
that
if
every
you have
time.
that confidence, trust me, people are gonna chant for you. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
that it is what it is. You know, so if you still show that confidence, like you're still gonna get your applauses.
It's the Arnold Schwarzenegger effect. No matter what he
Yeah.
looked like, he came out like he was the winner every time.
Come out,
you know?
come out there and smile, hit them poses like you mean it, boy. It don't matter. Mean that shit.
Yeah, yeah.
Just squeeze that ass as hard as you can, man.
You know, while we're talking about posing, have you guys noticed this trend lately of like these amateur posing coaches? They'll make these videos of some of the top pros and they'll break down their posing as if they're doing everything wrong. Have you seen that trend lately? I know you've seen
Walker.
it.
I'd like to see Nick Walker move his feet differently. He could look so much better.
Like he doesn't have a posing coach or he doesn't pose with Matt.
Yeah.
Every day working on these little things that make his adductors look a little bit better or his abs look a little bit tighter. It boggles my mind that people have these opinions and they think that their opinion needs to be voiced to break down top pros. It just drives me nuts.
Yeah.
They do it for the attention, you know?
Yeah.
Sure.
They're trying to build a following.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. We got anything else, guys?
I mean, we could just shoot the shit all day, but
Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
You training today, Nick?
No, I took off today. Wednesdays and Saturdays and Sundays are my off days. I get body work done on Wednesdays and Sundays.
Nice.
Cool.
That kid that you helped in the gym, I gotta say, you probably made his year, man. Just so you know, as a fan of the sport,
I thrive off helping people. I think it's the coolest thing. Only when they listen, obviously, though. But like when you see people like take your advice and actually apply it and listen to it, and then you know it feels good because a lot of the times I'll get DMs or messages and say, "Hey, you know, I did what you did and it made a tremendous difference." There is like that's such an amazing, cool feeling. Like because you don't think like you get into this bodybuilding industry and you're so goal set on just winning. You don't realize how many people like you actually motivate and inspire.
yeah,
You know, so like that because like that's not like your objective of why you're doing what you're doing, right? Like that's not was your first thought was let me bodybuild and inspire people. Like no one fucking thinks that. So when it happens, you're
Certainly not
like,
these
oh
days.
shit. Yeah. When it happens, you're like, oh shit, like this is fucking awesome. Like so anyone, you know, I love helping people. I think it's the coolest thing. I do. I have no problem taking time out of my day or even stopping my workout for a hot second to explain something to anyone.
yeah. I got
So
one.
guys, make sure you bother Nick in the gym. He
Yeah.
wants to give out advice on how to do a proper calf raise and how to hit your obliques perfectly.
Yeah, let's not you know, get into a mile here, you know.
Free of charge.
Yeah, no cost to you. I will ask one more here because it was one of our Patreon guys, and I already know how I think all three of us would answer it, Nick. But he asked, what helped you to become more disciplined?
What helped?
Because my thought is like we do it because we love it, but I want to hear from you.
I mean, I loved lifting, I guess, before I ever loved competing. And I actually had no desire to ever compete, but everyone told me while I was in high school I should probably compete. So I did my first show, like really right after high school, and I loved it, and that you know exceeded any outside noise, anything you know to distract me. Like we all know what it takes. You sacrifice so much for a prep. Like you miss family events, you miss family or friend outings, you miss so much for this one specific goal. But I didn't care because I knew even then when I was a skinny little shithead, I knew I was eventually going to become Mr. Olympia at the age of 17 years old. So that was the only thing I ever truly focused on. And that was what kept me disciplined. I actually just made a fucking video on this about between, you know, motivation and discipline. And anyone who says they're motivated 365, 24/7's fucking lying. Like you're full of shit. But it's the discipline and consistency that keeps it going. Like there's mornings, even I wake up and I'm like, I don't want to do this cardio. Like fuck this. But guess what? I got an end goal, motherfucker. Like I'm gonna get up and get this shit done. And then once I get it done, I feel better about myself. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
so I just think it's if you're very in tune on what you want to accomplish, discipline, in my opinion, should just be there. It is what it is.
Yep.
I agree.
That's what I figured we all three would say that too.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have played the other side just to be an ass, but
What would you say, Skip?
no, I'm kidding. No, I agree with what he's saying. I think that the vast majority of the time, discipline for most of us doesn't come into play. There are those days, like Nick said, there's no question. But the vast majority of the time, we're so passionate about it. We're so, come on, of the four of us here, anybody listening, isn't the time in the gym itself, aside from the progress or anything else, therapeutic? I mean,
It is.
the only time of my day that I have total control over everything, and no one can really fuck with me in the gym. I'm not going to change anything I'm doing. I'm not going to accommodate anybody. I'm not going to compromise. I'm just going to do what I'm going to do, and everything is great. And then I go back to the other 22 hours of the day and I deal with chaos.
I agree. But I also think it's just routine. Like I get up, I go do cardio. Like I don't think twice about it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it is what it is.
Yeah.
And I do cardio every morning. Every morning I do cardio.
No kidding.
And I love it. Every morning I get up. I do 25 minutes right now. I do 25 minutes and I do stairs. 25 minutes on stairs. And it starts my day. I feel great. Every day I do it.
It's a good way to like set things up, isn't it? Like get your day started.
I don't think I miss a day. Honestly, I don't. Travel, even when I travel, if I have to, I make sure I get it in somehow. Even at the Arnold, I was up at 4 or 5 in the morning going to fucking Pro's gym. Didn't think it was crowded, but it was, and doing cardio.
That place was nuts, man. We went out of town to train. We went took an Uber and went 30 minutes away.
I got up because it was 5 minutes from where I was staying.
Yeah.
So I got up, but it was like I remember Saturday. Yeah, Saturday morning. It was 5. And I'm like, I'm gonna go do cardio really fast. I'm like, it's probably not packed yet. There's a fucking madhouse.
Oh, yeah.
Lee Priest is in there working out. I'm like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah.
He's like, I gotta get it in somehow. Like it's 5 in the morning, bro.
Yeah.
Is Pro's the downtown gym that's it used to be a bank?
I think, it used to be the Powerhouse a few years back. Yeah.
Okay, but I mean, it was a bank, right? Because they have a legit vault. Yeah, yep. Okay, great gym.
Yep, it was back. I think the posing room was where the vault was and shit. It's kind of cool.
I don't know if you've been downstairs, but there's this one room that looks. I don't think I've seen anything. There's only 3 or 4 pieces in there, like a squat rack.
It's a scary basement. I'll say that.
It is. Yeah. It's kind of and you get lost. I remember getting anxious. I don't know how to get out of here. This is a maze.
It's a fucking maze down there. I got lost. I don't I just got to pee, bro. Where's the bathroom?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, I know I'm not a very big guy, but I thought these hallways are narrow. Nick must have been walking down sideways. That's funny.
All right. Well, listen, we appreciate your time, man. It is always a blast having you on.
Always.
This is really cool. Thank you.
This is one of my favorite podcasts, 100%.
Still gonna work to get your mom and your dad on, though. I'm telling you, I'm gonna work.
I'll get them on. It's just it would unfortunately to get them both on at the same time. It would have to be on a weekend.
Okay.
My dad works during the week, so
Skip will make it work.
I just think they'd be a lot of fun to have on, and
especially
without Nick, so we can talk and I can get up.
Oh God!
Get your mom to say some shit she normally wouldn't say. That's funny.
She would too. She would.
Yeah.
Hey,
let's get them on a Saturday night when they've had a few road sodas for us.
A few White Claws.
Yeah, right.
If people want to pick up any of that merchandise out of the famous basement, how do they find that stuff?
What is it? WalkerNationClothing.com, I believe.
Walker Nation Clothing. I'll find that link. I will put it in the description. You guys go check that out. And they're already following you. They don't need to know your Instagram. Yeah. They're already following you. Yeah. That's it. we'll put all that down there too. And listen, man, like I said, this has been a blast, and it is always a freaking honor to have you hanging out with us, man.
No, I appreciate it, man. I love when you guys have me on. So whenever you guys want me to come back, just let me know.
All right.
That's
Hell
awesome.
yeah. Guys, for another episode of Blood, Sweat, and Gear with coaches Skip Hill, Andrew Berry, myself, Scott McNally, we are joined by Nick Walker, and we will see you soon. Thanks, guys.